Hey, so I want to talk to you about grades. So this is, no Shakespeare. So I wanted to talk to you about getting grades in school. I mean, what's the meaning of that? I mean, like for instance, taking Shakespeare. What bearing does that have on, your working life? Does anybody, if you're out there and you work in the real world, has anybody asked you, tested you or quizzed you or about anything about Shakespeare? Is that, in order to get a promotion for a job, do you have to know, you know, the story of Romeo and Juliet or Hamlet? I mean, do you have to know these things? And why are we learning Shakespeare? Why aren't we learning some other, 14th or 15th century poet or playwright or whatever? I mean, why Shakespeare? Why not everybody else? If Shakespeare is so important and all that's so important to learn and get tested on it and get grades on it, then why don't we learn the whole lot? There must have been more than one playwright back in the day. So if it's so freaking important, why don't we just learn all of them? So, and then really the point of this story or the point of this video is, I mean, it's not even the point of like, why even take the course? Look, I'm not against Shakespeare and I'm not even against, even taking a course. But for God's sakes, why the fuck are we getting graded for it? Like, that just doesn't make any sense. Look, if you want to have a class and just talk about Shakespeare and people go to plays and read about plays and just have fun and learn about the guy, fine, great. But I mean, lay off the grades. I mean, it has no bearing on what we do in real life. But yet the grade does. And, people struggle to make, to get a grade, to get an A, B, C, or whatever whatever they're shooting for. But, it should just be an elective course at all, if at all. I mean, I think it's, obviously from the title of, my website, my business, noshakespeare.org, I'm against the whole idea of wasting time on Shakespeare when we can be learning something else. You can be learning about how to, present yourself, interpersonal communications, how to be a good employee, how to be a good employer, how to be a follower, how to be a leader. All these things are so important, but fucking goddamn Shakespeare is not one of them. And yet, we're forced to learn Shakespeare and then we get graded on it. I mean, the grade, it's just so meaningless. And it's not even just Shakespeare, it's just so many other courses. Like, why have grades? And it hurts people because it dictates the rest of their lives. And, and obviously people go, well, you need good grades in high school to go to college. Well, I have a lot of videos about that, but you know how I feel about college. That's ridiculous. Because you're getting good grades to get into college to do what? To learn the same shit you learned in high school. I mean, a lot of people recognize this and they say this, and it's just ridiculous. So, and obviously I'm not talking about, specialized careers like engineers and doctors, maybe even lawyers. But, why are we being graded on it? It's just insane and it's ridiculous and it's just, what I think they should do instead of having a grade in some of these courses, or even maybe all the courses for that matter, is, have maybe like a good friendly competition, just like, like a soccer game. You got one team, maybe 12 people, another team of 12 people, and then you have at it, just divide the class in half and then, have a discussion or bring up questions or whatever, have a mini debate, and then, winner takes all. But, at least the win is a collective win and the loss is a collective loss. And it's not every person for himself. I mean, that's just a fucking really bad way to, start making people, and putting them out in the real world. Because, the workplace is pretty competitive, but I think it's because we're designed to be that way. We're designed to get A's and B's and everybody else is a fucking loser. And, there's not a lot of cooperation. I mean, there's very little cooperation in classes. I mean, it's mostly, I mean, you may have instances where, you know, there's a group activity, but at the end of the day, you're all competing for fucking a grade. And there's no teacher that's going to be allowed to give everybody an A. Because if everybody got an A, you know, the administrator will come in and go, well, there's something wrong here. The class isn't hard enough. There's no way everybody can get an A. That's ridiculous. So they have to have a scale. So certain number of people get A's, certain number of people get B's, some people get C's. You know, I was in a class, I had this history class, this teacher, the very first grade you got on anything was the same exact grade you got for the rest of the semester. So if you got like an A or A minus, that's what you got for the rest of the semester, B or B minus. You know, and it's not just, you know, me just kind of having this conspiracy theory, like I thought this. I mean, not only did I talk to my fellow students, but we saw the teacher's grade book laid out. And I even looked at all my old tests and all my grades. I got an 83 on my very first quiz. I got an 83 on everything I did, even if I did better than an 83 or worse. 83 across the board. A friend of mine got a 94 his very first quiz, 94s across the board. You know, and so it's just, I mean, that's just, you know, what I'm trying to say there is that, you know, teachers just distribute grades like they're distributing, you know, different kinds of candy or something. You know, not everybody can get the same grade. Not everybody can get D's, not everybody can get F's, not everybody can get B's and C's and D's and A's. And so the grade is, it makes everybody compete amongst themselves, you know, and because like I said, you couldn't have it a cooperative effort where everybody got an A. No, somebody's got to be the winner. Somebody's got to get an A. Somebody's got to get a B, D, C, and D and F down the line. And you know, and like I said, when it relates to the workplace, it's very competitive, and because I think it's that mentality. And the workplace and working in the real world would be a lot more pleasurable if it wasn't like that. You know, and I talk a little bit on other videos about being a good leader and being a good follower. Anyway, that's it for Shakespeare. No Shakespeare. That's it for No Shakespeare right now. Come to the website, noshakespeare.org, and participate. You know, we got a lot of good discussion. Get on the blog, read the blogs, read the discussion, and, you know, support the community. And because we need to change things. We need to change things in schools. And it's not, you know, it's not a situation where you can go bang on the door of the government and go fucking change. The change is going to happen when people change, when their attitudes change. You know, this is what happened with, you know, like smoking or even like marijuana. You know, nobody, you know, banged down the door of the government and goes, this is what we got to make legal. Just people collectively just started saying, look, this is ridiculous, why it's illegal, we got to make it legal. And so if everybody participates and gets on the website and makes their voices heard, you know, people in the government will hear that voice. But, you know, we got to start somewhere before they're going to start listening. Thank you.